We have some of the best minds in medicine from a surgical and a scientific and a research perspective, making investment decisions about where to allocate capital from investors. And we create a very curated approach to our portfolio of investments. There wasn't enough technology being put into the hospitals. The devices needed to be better.
Hi everyone, welcome to another executive interview. Our guest today is Andrew Spears, the founding partner at SoHi Partners. He brings a wealth of experience and insight into the realm of venture capital, particularly within the burgeoning field of medical technology. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. Andrew, it's great to have you here today.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here and speak to everybody.
Same here. Now, to kick things off, could you provide our audience with an overview of Sohi Partners and its unique value proposition in the realm of venture capital?
Yeah, absolutely. SoHi Partners was founded by surgeons who were also inventors and users of medical technology every day in their general practices where they consult, but also in the theatre rooms where they operate. And they realized that there wasn't enough technology being put into the hospitals. The devices needed to be better. So they started their journey many years ago as then going from surgeons to inventors and creators of medical technology, and functionally realized that there needed to be a change in the venture capital landscape where the insiders, the people that were using the technology and understood what was really needed every day, had to form part of the journey of fostering and creating, working with the next round of innovators, sharing their knowledge to make sure that the ideas of tomorrow are being fostered today through those in the know. And functionally, that's our unique proposition, is that we have some of the best minds in medicine from a surgical and a scientific and a research perspective, making investment decisions about where to allocate capital from investors. And we create a very curated approach to our portfolio of investments.
Amazing. Thank you for that comprehensive overview, Andrew. Now, Sohi Partners emphasizes investing from the inside out, a departure from the traditional venture capital firms. So, could you elaborate on how this approach actually sets you apart and also the advantages that it offers in the medtech investment landscape?
Yes, absolutely. So when we say from the inside out, we mean that from two lenses. So one, we have a collective of 80 years of surgical experience and scientific experience and invention looking at medical devices. So effectively, it's not the first rodeo for us. You know, we've seen devices, we've seen therapeutics, we've seen biological components go from an idea through proof of value, proof of concept, through to commercialization, scale, and exit on multiple occasions. So we have that inside knowledge from the creation perspective, but we also have that inside knowledge from a usage perspective. And there's a deep understanding within our business of what the next round of innovations need to be, because our surgeons and our medical advisory panel are sitting on all of the global conferences. They're connected into their peers around the world. They are currently educating the next round of surgeons and doctors and specialists on what the current and future problems are that need to be addressed. So that gives us a deeply unique value proposition as a venture capital firm to truly understand the issues from the inside out. And then also, the second lens is we work very heavily inside the businesses, providing them that level of mentorship and guidance that they require, because medtech, unlike tech, is a much longer gestation from I have an idea through to I'm going to exit and I'm commercializing. So you really need somebody who understands the pitfalls, the traps, all the twists and turns that are going to occur along that journey, particularly from a regulatory perspective, which is very complicated and onerous, and needs a very experienced hand to guide people through, but also making sure that the businesses that we invest in have the right teams in place and the right people doing the right jobs.
Amazing. Those are some wonderful insights, Andrew. Now, given the rapidly evolving landscape of medical technology and the increasing global healthcare needs, what key trends and market opportunities do you foresee in the medtech sector?
Yeah, look, that's a great question. I think, a statistic that I love, one put out by the World Health Organization, effectively, there's going to be a shortfall of 10 million healthcare professionals by 2030. So, you know, what healthcare is looking for is when you compound that with the fact that there is an aging and ailing population with an increase in non-communicable diseases. So effectively things like obesity, joint pain, and damage um, that's coming from effectively non-diseases like cancer, uh, compounded with the increasing population, there's an incredible requirement for efficiency. So we're going to see AI coming in a lot into healthcare in terms of diagnosis support. Uh, a lot of the technology is coming up to a point now where the medical imaging and the medical diagnosis tools are providing such good data that we can now run AI across that data. I think you'll also start seeing software as a service, software as a medical device coming in increasingly, but also from a genetics and a medical perspective, you'll start seeing animal products being utilized a lot more in humans as a solution, for example, in tendons, bones, all sorts of areas. You'll start seeing animal products coming into human usage more. And I think probably the last point where we're going to see a lot is just the medical devices are becoming a lot more advanced and a lot more capable. For example, hands and arms and legs that can read electrical data coming directly from the brain and make decisions around movement as well. So we're seeing a lot of that occurring, and that's sort of the area that we're comfortably investing in at the moment.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, Andrew. Now, SoHi Partners boasts a team of leading experts from diverse backgrounds. So, can you tell us how does their combined knowledge and experience give your company a unique edge?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've spoken a lot about the medical knowledge and the surgical knowledge that we have. When you complement that with deep financial services experience, understanding risk, understanding business processes, understanding governance and control points, we have effectively a triple trigger that needs to be pulled in order for us to make an investment into a business. The first step and the most important step is the medical advisory panel. So that's the medical experts I was talking about that gives us a unique edge. They need to look at an idea, understand the scientific hypothesis behind that particular idea or that innovation. They then take that and say, this is something that we think is a sound idea. It's a globally addressable problem. It's going to significantly change human life. And we think it's a good investment. From a medical perspective, we understand the regulation that they need to go through and the path to get through those regulatory approvals. And it's important to note as well, those regulatory approvals are there for a very important reason. It's to make sure that what goes to the market is safe and sound. And we make sure that that governance process is well understood and that there's a good team in place. That's what the medical advisory panel does. It then flows through to an investment risk committee who do the typical things that you would expect a normal VC to do, looking at valuations, looking at the market, looking at competition, and then looking at the potential exit paths, amongst many other things. So it's that medical and surgical and scientific laid against the onerous approach of a traditional life sciences VC, bringing the two together, creating a much more curated approach. So what we won't do as an example is we won't take punts. We don't take any views that this is an area we need to be in. We don't necessarily understand it that well, but these guys seem to know what they're talking about. If we can't have a scientific knowledge point that tells us that this is a good idea with good data to back that up, we won't invest into it. And we're taking a much more curated approach to avoid downside risk on potential investments. And then that combination of the financial services and the business processes coming together is what really gives us that unique edge.
Absolutely. Now, while the opportunities in the medtech are vast, there are undoubtedly challenges as well. So, what are some of the main challenges that you anticipate in investing in this sector, and how does SoHi Partners plan to navigate them to ensure successful outcomes?
I think the challenges are driven from two areas. One is that there's a systemic challenge around regulation, as I've spoken about, and I've spoken about why the regulation is there, and it is critically important. You don't want a medical device or a therapeutic come into the market that just doesn't work. Um, People are often having expensive procedures and they're putting their money into these things that they're hoping will change their life and make their life significantly better. So the failure is not an option. So they have to work and they have to go through a rigorous regulatory process. So one of the challenges is making sure that you understand the regulatory path and you have a team that understand that regulatory path, been through it before. So that's a challenge. In itself, there's also a bit of fatigue around the post-COVID world, around particularly medical devices who saw a little bit of a lack of investment during the COVID period and then the lag after COVID from the economic conditions that we've seen. But we're seeing that investment bounce back now, definitely. And we're certainly seeing exits and buyouts definitely increase. There's been some good ones in the market recently. Tasker, which is a business out of New Zealand, recently exited to Equal for quite a sizable return. And one of our founding partners, Dr. Nicholas Hartner, was actually involved in the early stages of that investment as well. So we've got a team who have seen the obstacles but found the right investments and come through those challenges. I think the other challenge is probably just that things take a long time and investors can get a little bit wary. So talking investors through, but also talking the businesses through and setting expectations early about timeframes, I think is very important. And having, good strategies in place. For example, we're looking at an investment in the collagen space. What we'll probably also do is acquire an existing business who already has approvals for supply chain and distribution into hospitals and universities around the world. So it's about building strategies to mitigate those risks and accelerate revenue opportunities as well.
Absolutely wonderful insights again, Andrew. Now, looking ahead, what are SoHi Partners' goals for the next 5 years, and how do you plan to continue driving high returns for your investors while making a positive impact on the global healthcare?
I mean, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it, with them? I mean, so I think functionally it's about continuing the path that we're down. So we're looking at opportunities in the market that are incredibly unique and globally scalable and systemically address a huge problem in the market. So, we want to tackle back pain, we want to tackle arthritis, we want to tackle knee implants, all those sorts of things that will significantly change a human life, but also human life more broadly. And that's we'll continue down that path. I think we'll also continue to set up additional funds. We're already looking at our second and potentially third fund as well. So making sure that we're investing into parallel areas that support medicine and foster innovation. And I dare say you'll probably also see us taking a more active role in terms of identifying opportunities and then building those opportunities out. So what you'll probably start seeing from us in the coming months is not just making investments, but working with intelligent innovators and creators to come up with the ideas and the problems that we see and build solutions around those and then investing into those ideas and building them out. So we'll be taking a much more active approach in terms of finding the right ideas that need to be backed.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Andrew, for sharing your wonderful insights into the world of venture capital and the exciting opportunities that lie ahead in the medtech sector. For those who are interested in getting in touch with the company, please check out the contact information provided on the screen or in the description of this video. Once again, thank you, Andrew, and we wish you all the luck with your venture moving forward.
Thank you. It's my absolute pleasure. And, as you said, if anybody does want to reach out, you can clearly see we love talking about this stuff. So don't be afraid.
Definitely. Thanks, Andrew.